in a moment.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I am gonna get a new computer soon too.
Cool. Mac?
Mac. I think I'm going with Mac.
Yay!
Well, my bank account is not saying yay,
Bank
but my
accounts never say
sanity
yay.
might be. I really want to know if they're coming out with an iTouch 6 because
An
I also
iPod
need,
Touch 6?
yeah, an iPod Touch 6. Just because I cracked my iPod and I don't have an iPhone, so it's
Ew.
kind of what I use as an iPhone because I still have a BlackBerry.
John, it looks like Dropbox was, I don't know what Dropbox was doing, but it's now uploading the files from the ramen noodle. Okay, we'll be starting a little bit late, guys. John, if you hear an echo, oh no, he's probably saying that about what you're hearing because of
Yeah,
the delay.
Echo.
All right, let's get this room a little bit brighter.
I noticed a blue fairy smiled at Oh, I never noticed that. This is how much I rely on podcasting. I started watching this episode and I was like, I paused it. I was like, I missed an episode. The last thing I remember is Emma sitting in her car being all upset. And then I realized, like, I was forgetting the whole 2-hour episode because we didn't podcast about it. Or I didn't podcast about it.
Oh, sorry. I'll plug you in now, Jeremy.
Being drunk. Hey, John, they still have Blackberries, and it is a Canadian company. So I am more apt to support a Canadian company than an American company. And I like having buttons. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello.
All right. Oh. Hey, Jenny, would you put Lucy in her cage? I can't. Thanks. Oh, Jeremy, your microphone was actually muted if you were trying to talk to Aaron.
I think I heard him through yours.
I think so. That was a scary sound that happened just now.
Oh, what was it?
I don't know.
Me talking.
Yeah. No, feedback. No, when you started moving your mic, though, it was kind of scary because we didn't know the speakers were on or that you were online. There was just a rumbling from the desk. It was very loud.
Oh.
We are incredibly low quality right now.
Video quality?
Mm-hmm. I thought the camera was out of focus. It's so low res. Oh, it's better. Never mind. Well, it's flipping in and out.
That's probably because Dropbox is running.
Mm.
The quality will improve in a little bit.
Are you turning on Mixler?
Yes. Okay, Mixler's on.
Hello, Mixler.
All right, now fix this echo problem. How was it that I was going to fix it?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
You guys have good Black Friday sales there?
We had some pretty good ones.
Ours were rather pathetic. We don't actually do Black Friday though, so that's probably why.
Black Friday is dead to me.
I understand.
Black Plague Friday to Jeremy.
I think all shopping should cease for the weekend of Thanksgiving.
See, we don't do Black Friday. We do Boxing Day. But because a lot of Canadians go down to the States for Black Friday because of your sales, in my area, they try to do Black Friday sales here to make up for to try not to lose people.
Yeah.
Like the money that's spent there. But so then it's like our iPods are on sale for like $20 off. Which is nothing. Oh, my
She
echo's
just
only
switched
one ear now.
Your left ear, yeah.
It's my left ear. That's correct.
Yeah.
Do you have any caffeine patches?
Do you have any caffeine patches?
Yes.
Are you talking
I
to
now
a
call
cat?
you patches.
Oh, guys, remember we're podcasting in British accents tonight.
Oh, we're not.
Hey, Jeremy, if you lean back, just your head will show in the video because of the black background. Oh, well, you'd have to zip up your jacket. Your floating head.
You're a floating head. Patches.
Okay.
Brown Thursday. That's
Please
disgusting,
stand
Andrew.
by. Brown gravy.
Oh.
Gravy, turkey, stuffing.
Butter.
Okay. Brown butter. Pecan pie. Thanksgiving is a very brown holiday.
Oh.
Yes, John. Blackberries are Canadian. It's like an hour away from where I live. Their warehouse.
Okay. You're coming in through there.
Am I still echoing? Well, Rose, I don't think that a flat tire counts as Black Friday shopping.
All right. Here's what. Let me think here. Okay, Aaron, tell me if you hear yourself. Oh, wait, that won't
I was
work.
going to say, now I'm getting all messed up.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to hear you if I did that. That adapter was supposed to come today. Or I wanted it to.
Or actually, I just wanted it to. But in my mind, that made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm only in my left ear.
Right. Incorrect.
$400 for $1 for one tire? That's a lot. That's a lot.
Problem is, it's sending that.
I'm singing.
Jeremy, would you plug that USB cable in, please?
No, I don't
into my
think
monitor?
so. Okay. They made it stupid.
How do you make it stupid? I think it's just you were trying to plug it in back.
Well, they didn't make the plastic bezel. Not at first, I wasn't. The bezel doesn't cover the port all the way, so you can kind of run into the metal on the edges of the port.
Run into the Metal sounds like a great name for a band.
It's probably pretty standard. I'm just not used to such engineering at this point in my life. Wink, wink.
Oh.
Wait, is that a PC? Is that a PC?
No,
The monitor is a Dell.
Oh,
dude, it's a Dell.
is that why? Is that why? You're not used to it. You're not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Fine then. Fine then.
Okay, so Aaron, when I switch this, do you hear yourself now?
Do I hear myself now? No, I don't, but you went really quiet.
Okay, but how quiet? Am I at normal volume again now?
No.
Oh, okay. Why? Go ahead and unplug that again, please. Thank you.
Do I have time to make coffee?
Okay, no, you don't.
You're gonna be fine, Jeremy.
You can hear us now, right?
I can hear you now, and I don't hear myself.
Okay, you don't hear yourself. You're hearing me at a lower quality, though, which
Okay.
that's just going to be a consequence here for tonight.
As long as just when we were podcasting when I was in BC, it was just like freezing you guys toward the end.
Yeah, that was a bandwidth thing.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to have to pause Dropbox. So, John, you'll get those files later.
I'm back in my actual house, in my actual room that I always use to podcast, so I should be everything should be normal from this end, except my voice.
In your studio.
In my studio, yes, which is also a 3-year-old's bedroom.
Right, I'll just double check a volume level setting here. And we're good to go. Okay.
Yes.
Did you see John in the chat?
Yeah, but the problem is I don't know how recent that is. To say that, if I'm hearing that from 30 seconds ago or something else. Pause that back up, pause that back up, pause that back up.
Oh, God.
All right.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Maybe? Just give it a little whirl?
Yeah. Let's do it. I'm going to put my sound clips in the soundboard, and then we'll be good to go.
Good to go.
I could just talk about my trip to Steveston for the entire hour and a half if you want.
Oh. That'd be good. Maybe we should have. Is what you'd have to say spoilery?
They shared. I sent Hunter an email.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they shared. It's not spoilery.
Like what you could share tonight potentially?
I don't really know though what you would want me to share. Like I could just
talk about the experience.
I could do that if you want me to. Yeah.
Let's do that at near the end of the podcast.
Okay.
We'll talk about this episode, and near the end, then we'll have you share about your experience.
Okay.
All right. Here we go then. Um, start the recording. Recording is started. Go ahead, Aaron, and start your recording.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
And you know what? Tell me if you hear this music.
I do hear that music.
Okay.
I so hear that music.
I haven't heard it for weeks.
All right. Here we go. This is episode 173. We're talking about fall. And yeah, past. We'll do past first, even though it's not all that past.
Spoiler.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to Once, episode 173, Fall. Welcome back to another episode of Once, the unofficial podcast for ABC's TV show Once Upon a Time. I'm Daniel J. Lewis.
I'm Jeremy Laughlin.
I'm Erin.
We're happy to have you with us. And Erin, welcome back to the podcast. We appreciate all of us being together again.
We hope you guys.
We hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're in the United States and recently celebrated Thanksgiving. Canada celebrates Thanksgiving ahead of us, so they're thankful before we are. But we hope that wherever you are, you took a moment to be thankful, and you do that every single day. Let's talk about now the spell that none of us are thankful for. The spell that we see falling in this episode, fall. Let's start out talking with kind of the past. This episode is different with everything else we've seen in season 4. This episode had no flashbacks because everything we see is kind of happening around the same time.
Right.
We just didn't know that until almost the end of the episode.
Yes. And it's really cool how they did that. And just for clarification, it's not all happening exactly simultaneously.
Right.
Because there are some things in Arendelle where they talk about a few days ago or a couple days ago, or that was the longest boat trip ever. And they refer to a different day. They refer to Wednesday. So it's obviously not Wednesday. It's probably Friday or Saturday in Arendelle. So a few days have passed in Arendelle. Thus, the question that I think this raises is when we see Anna and Kristoff thaw, what actually caused them to thaw? Because it's not when Ingrid started casting the spell. I'm thinking they started to thaw when Ingrid put up the ice wall. Actually, it was Elsa who put up the ice wall, and then Ingrid kept the ice wall up. So maybe that ice wall prevented Ingrid's magic from reaching the other world, and thus allowed everyone to thaw out. That would be enough time to make everything line up, I think.
Yeah, that I never thought about that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I guess if it was going to be 30 years and then suddenly stop, I'd kind of like to know why. Not just because she has something worse planned. Well, no crap, she always has, so anyway.
I was thinking about this, just kind of why it would happen, why they would thaw, and it just made me think of this book that I was reading where this guy is like experimenting, not experimenting on witches, but kind of like trying to figure them out, and he's interviewing them and asking them to do a spell and then do math, and they're basically saying it's really hard for them to hold this spell when they're trying to then think and do math. So it makes me think maybe just the magic that was required for her to cast the Shattered Sight spell made her unable to maintain the other spells that she had been holding the whole time. But I like the ice wall theory. That makes a lot more sense to me.
Well, I think the other theory that you just mentioned also could be a perfect explanation for it. And we may never actually get an exact explanation. We may never actually get an exact reason for why it was broken and everyone thawed. But I think these two ideas that have been presented here are good enough. One of them could be right, and it's not something I'm going to try and say, no, it has to be this. Sorry, there's a feedback here that says nothing.
Oh.
Right.
There's no message. Huh. Okay, we will move on. Did either of you have something else to say about that scene?
No.
Yeah, no. That's fine. Sorry, my mic just fell.
That's okay. We're kind of paused, but not
I
paused.
caught it, though.
Good. So Hans is now taking over Arendelle. He will just not let that kingdom go.
Not gonna have time because he's busy chasing Anna all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't really know what he's taking over.
That and rolling in the gold bricks.
Yes.
Weird.
Unless you've seen DuckTales.
Yeah, but that was coins.
That's true. It's easier to swim in coins than gold bricks.
I love that Hans referred to himself as a benevolent leader. Actually made me laugh out loud.
Says who?
Yeah. Because in case anyone doesn't know, benevolent means well-meaning or kindly. And I'm pretty sure that Elsa on her worst day is more benevolent than Hans on his best day.
Well, he's just been looking all his life for his own place.
Yeah.
And they sung together.
I loved that comment. I sang with you.
And his brothers all laugh.
So we learned about this wishing star. And it almost felt like one of those things that they just now bring this up. It's as if they invented it for this episode. But no, they've been planning it for this whole season, but we're only just now hearing about
I sure
the wishing
hope
star.
so.
Yeah.
It really could have been that they planned to have a whole entourage go to Arendelle and break the curse and bring everybody back, and then they decided, oh wait, that doesn't work. But I don't think so, except for the way the ice wall gave the necklace back for no reason. It's like they had some beats planned and didn't really know how to connect the dots. Like, oh crap, we just left the necklace in a chasm inside the ice wall. We really don't have that set anymore. We really can't have them go in there and get it. So I think it needs to just kind of issue it.
Yeah, maybe not. Go ahead.
Did the ice wall blow up a bit when Charming got repelled against it? Like, did it blow pieces?
No.
Okay.
It got thicker, and then a crack opened up hundreds of feet from where the necklace fell into the ice, and the necklace was there, shallow enough for her to reach in and get it.
Yeah, the writing
It's
there,
fine. Okay.
The writing there isn't the best, as well as later on. It seems like this episode struggles a little bit with physical distances.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode overall. I enjoyed a lot of the dialogue, but yeah, there were a lot of little connect the dots things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, while we're on that topic, later on, when they blast the hole in the cave wall, and they're like, the beach. The map couldn't have been more wrong. It's like, well, why didn't you just find another way to get them to the beach if that's what you wanted? Because you're not implying that they were taken magically to the beach. You're just like, It's like if you've ever seen The Emperor's New Groove and the villain beats them somewhere and they look at the map and they go, yeah, by all accounts, it doesn't make sense. They're just making fun of the fact that people do that.
Well, I was ready to accept that distance issue in this episode, but then when Emma yelled when she got out of the elevator and Anna heard her, that's when I realized, no, you got a glitch there.
What do you mean?
And this is jumping later on in this episode when Elsa went into the mines to go break through that wall herself.
Yeah.
Emma went down the elevator in the library.
Mm-hmm.
Elsa is at the wall right next to the beach. That's too far apart.
Oh,
Physically,
I thought
that's
you
too
said
far
Anna
apart.
heard her.
Oh, from the library.
I might have said that.
Okay.
But yeah, from the library, that's too far apart for a yell to be heard through the cave like that, and for
Yep.
Emma to make her way there. That's a distance issue I also had with this episode. I understand they need to compress this stuff together and fit this stuff.
We'll forgive Regina saying we have just moments and then leaving the mayor's office and then sealing herself in the vault because she can poof.
Yeah. She forgets that sometimes.
I'll just say that's what she did off camera because she was there like now.
And this is happening. And by now, you mean
The whole connection?
it was our live stream connection.
Oh.
You back, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I think that was the fault on my side. I don't know if that was my internet or my computer or what, or just
Yeah, it just froze you guys, the video and everything.
Yeah. Okay. So we were still talking about Kristoff and Anna in the woods, and we just mentioned how the wishing star, how powerful is it going to be, and that you could just wish on it. So if you want to pick it up from there, I see you've got several notes in here. Go ahead and pick it up.
What was your last kind of thought?
Just about the wishing star being, how powerful is this thing going to be?
Mm-hmm.
I loved Anna's, the important thing is that you can wish on it, which is implied by the wishing star. And I thought it was convenient or nice that they had the wishing star in the episode with blue fairies kind of return. Because I think in Pinocchio there is a wishing star involved.
The song, when you wish upon a star.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to turn aside to do one of my retroactive rewrite suggests. So they go down to the cave, and all of a sudden Emma's all, oh no, I'm afraid of another cave-in. You cannot try to use magic to get through that wall, no matter what. Okay, you've taken bigger risks, so what's the deal? And then they come through the wall, and they're at the beach, which shouldn't make sense. So that tells me that whole thing was plot timing.
Yeah.
They needed the necklace to not take them to the beach, because they've already done the, hey, it took us to the beach, the locator spells a dead end, I guess they're dead thing before. But I think it would have gone better and cooler if they'd taken the necklace to the beach, and then they couldn't go anywhere, and they just were confused and sad. And then Jiminy Cricket sees the thing and goes, that's a wishing star, and tells them all about wishing upon a star. And then they go back, and they try it, and boom. I think that would have been cool.
Aaron, what do you think about the little comparison between pirates and wizards?
Well, it was funny. It was very Anna. It was very true to Anna's character. And I think that, I wonder if it's kind of foreshadowing what's happening with Rumpelstiltskin and Hook. They decided pirates are better than wizards, and we know that now there's this battle happening.
That's funny.
Between Hook and Rumple. And truly, I would call, they referred to Rumpelstiltskin as a wizard in this episode, but especially when he's going after the hat, just the epitome of being a wizard is having this wizard's hat. Yeah, I just wonder if that's gonna foreshadow that like they decided pirates are better than wizards because they can be bought off. um, but yeah, it's interesting that they made that comparison and had that little funny dialogue when we know what's happening on the other end of things.
It does remind me a little bit of reindeer are better than people.
Don't you think that's true?
Nah.
Well, people will beat you and pursue and cheat you.
But speaking of cheating you, they visit Blackbeard, the cheat, and they did take the slowest boat ride ever. There are lots of little things that were said that I didn't pick up on until the third watching of this episode. And one of the things here is Blackbeard has the Jolly Roger, and we've talked about the timeline in the initial reactions and how this all works out, that this all happened after the curse, everything. This is 30 years later that they thought out. So it makes me wonder, did Hook sell the Jolly Roger back to Blackbeard? Or maybe Blackbeard just found it? Because remember, Hook told Emma that he sold the Jolly Roger. He used it to outrun the curse, and then he sold it for a magic bean in order to come back to New York and find Emma. This was in season 3, second half of season 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I totally think this wraps that up. Like, I totally think that that's how Blackbeard got it, that he had the bean, he traded Hook, and that now we know what happened to the Jolly Roger.
Right. Although it would seem strange for Hook to sell his ship to the man he made a ship.
Right. I didn't even think about it because when they walked onto the ship, we didn't know it was 30 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I started thinking when we saw it, trying to figure out, okay, that would place it in such and such in the timeline and all of this, and then the 30 years later comment, and then that's when they start bringing out other things that clarify that this is happening nearly simultaneously with everything else. So Elsa's parents bought the Wishing Star off of Blackbeard, and that means they would have bought it before they even went to Misthaven.
No.
They would have had to, because they went to Misthaven.
They bought it from somebody in Misthaven before they went to Misthaven?
Well, they bought it from Blackbeard. We don't know where they met Blackbeard.
I guess.
Because the reason this has to happen before they went to Misthaven is they died on their way back from Misthaven.
Oh, I see your point.
The necklace was back in their home in Arendelle before they left. So this is a necklace they got at some point from Blackbeard before deciding to go to Misthaven to talk to Rumpelstiltskin about Elsa's magic. Maybe they didn't even know what the Wishing Star could do, or maybe they got it thinking it could help them with Elsa and then discovering it can't, and that's what led them to decide we need to talk to someone more powerful. We need a wizard.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know why somebody who trapped her kind of innocent urn would be able to use the Wishing Star to pure heart.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and what was not so pure of heart about the parents? I mean, yeah, Gerda was the one who put Ingrid in the urn, so maybe that's what made her not pure of heart. But in Anna's case, Anna was under a spell when she did it.
Right.
So this was
Poseidon. Well, and Anna knows pure of heart, right? Because of the interaction with Rumpelstiltskin. Because only somebody pure of heart could take the hat.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this is Poseidon's boneyard. And there have been some theories. We received a theory. I don't have it in front of me at the moment.
My goodness, I would not take that too literally. I thought it was just a name.
Yeah, not literally his boneyard, but that's what they called it. And we received a theory that tied this together with not just Ariel, but with the Little Mermaid. how there's this theory, the Disney theory, that ties all of these things together that say that Elsa and Anna's parents were on the ship that sunk, or that was sunk. You see Ariel swim through with Flounder, and her parents ended up being the parents of Tarzan. There's this whole theory about how all the Disney stories tied together and the same characters are tied together in them. Probably not, although this was maybe a cute
There's
nod.
no probably. This is not how movies are written.
But nonetheless, there's the ship. And the fact that we see the ship, I think, gives more support to the idea, especially since we saw the bottle, that Elsa and Anna's parents are indeed dead.
Yeah. I don't know where else they'd be.
We basically see their grave.
Besides, how would their bones mingle if they weren't dead?
Erin, anything else to say on this scene?
I don't really know where we are. Sorry.
Okay, visiting Blackbeard.
Okay, I'm echoing.
Oh, echoing again?
Yeah.
Let me look. See what? It's nothing on my side. Did that change it for you?
You see? No.
How about now?
And now, no.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize I had the live streaming page up, and I flipped over, and our recording is playing in fast forward of the Hangout, complete with switches to Aaron's face and everything. I don't know why it's doing that. So we're just sitting there going.
Yeah, I don't have anything open other than the Hangout that would be giving you feedback.
Okay, let me do this. You're gonna not hear anything from us for a moment.
Okay.
Or at all.
Never again. Oh.
Test. Okay, Erin, you hear us,
I do hear you.
and you don't hear yourself.
I do not hear myself. This is excellent.
Okay. Yay!
Okay, so we were on visiting Blackbeard.
Yeah. Did you have anything else to say on that?
No, I think we're good if we move on.
I noticed that when they were about to be thrown overboard in the boo box, that they referred to being frozen by Ingrid for 30 years. They don't know about the Dark Curse.
They don't, but I think it's irrelevant.
Well,
except that it makes the rest of the world make sense. It makes Misthaven make sense.
What do you mean?
Well, it's been 30 years, but they travel to another land that wasn't frozen. But guess what? It was frozen by something else. So that's cool too.
Oh, okay.
If they were related, they should have thought at the exact same moment
Right.
when the
Yeah.
curse was broken.
But here's the thing. They were frozen in Arendelle. Wait a minute. 30 years.
Yes, it was longer. They just thawed. It's all Ingrid.
Actually, it should have been longer than 30 years. Because everything that's happening in Arendelle that we saw up before this episode happened years before the Dark Curse. Because remember, Anna just got back from visiting David when he had long hair before he had ever met Snow. As soon as Snow enters the picture, then you add an extra year or two to the timeline.
That's funny.
So they should really have been frozen for more like 33 years or 35 years.
I suppose it could
Maybe
be
they're just rounding, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
as long as it's
couldn't have
less
been
than
more wrong.
35.
Yeah, how do you really know?
Yeah.
When you wake up from being frozen and everyone else was frozen, how do you really know 30 years passed?
Right. How do they know?
And it's not really like they it's not like they live in a society where they, have iPhones and calendars and
Right. It's like, so the whole kingdom thaws and everything's pretty normal. They travel across the sea to another realm and it is pretty normal too. Not sure how they know.
Now, granted, there is astronomy, and that might be how they looked up and measured the stars and realized, what, we've been gone for, I'd say 30 years. Yeah, looks like 30 years based on the star positions.
Maybe that's
I
it.
know astronomy is a lot more precise than that, but in Enchanted Forest, let's assume astronomy isn't so precise, and then it makes perfect sense.
But when you're just like Hans and you do a quick check because you're like, how long have we been out? Maybe that's what you come up with.
Or maybe this is another one of those distance things that the writers didn't quite pay attention to, and they didn't think about the distance in years.
Well, what Anna's still been thinking about is how much does he weigh? She makes the crack about well over 200 pounds of gold.
I want to
Is that a fat
know. No, I don't think so. I want to know why Arendelle was not affected by the curse. Why?
Well, see, I think it was. It was affected in that it was frozen in time while being frozen in ice.
In ice.
So frozen. That's like refried beans, but re-frozen. Or frozen twice.
So maybe if they were just frozen, they would have aged, but because they were frozen and frozen in time, they didn't age?
Right. That's my thinking. But also, stuff doesn't really age when it's frozen.
I know, that's why.
One of the most beautiful scenes in Once Upon a Time happened here inside of the boo box down. I'm going to keep wanting to call it that, but inside that chest, under the sea. And you can't even hear that. Okay, now you should be able to hear it.
I, Anna Arendelle, promise to love and cherish you
Whoa, what are you doing?
and you before we die.
No,
What?
you don't get to marry me unless we get out of this. Okay? Just keep your chin.
I hadn't noticed how loud the music was.
I think one of the most beautiful moments. I felt like crying almost every time I saw that. Just seeing Anna, because Anna is so, whimsical, and
She didn't even make a crack about what's the use in freeing my hands if we're just going to drown?
Yeah.
Which I totally thought she was going to say. Yeah, but only Anna would unilaterally decide, I'm marrying you right now. That's what I am in the process of doing. I am currently marrying you.
You can't marry a guy you just met. Oh, wait, we've known each other. We're
A
getting
person
married
who's not
anyway.
also marrying you.
Yeah, that was an endearing moment.
Yeah. Let me tell you about something else that is endearing to us, and that is you. Thank you for your kind donations to the podcast. We really could not do this without you, especially for this episode. Steve Johnson, Lisa Slack, Laura Silva, and Tappenberg. Thank you very much for your kind donations that keep the podcast running. Each of these are subscribers. They donate a certain amount on a monthly basis, which is what helps us the most because as we have a hiatus coming up, we won't be releasing as many episodes, but those monthly donations help cover the costs that continue even when we're not podcasting. So thank you very much for that support. We also have 11 backers on Patreon. Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it. If you would like to donate to the podcast, a one-time donation, an automatic monthly donation, which is what helps us the best, or a per episode donation through Patreon, then you can see all of those options over at oncepodcast.com/sponsor. And again, thank you, Steve, Lisa, Laura, and Tappenberg, and all of our 11 Patreon backers. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. One other way that you could support us that won't cost you any extra money is please do your shopping through oncepodcast.com/Amazon. Or if you're listening from Canada, you can go to oncepodcast.com/AmazonCA and purchase through our affiliate link, and then we get a portion of whatever you purchase. So purchase that big computer or that car through Amazon or a really big order right after you visit through our link, and anything you purchase, we get a small percentage of that, and it helps the podcast, and we really appreciate that. So you can check out all of those options over at oncepodcast.com/sponsor. And thank you for your support. Let's move on to talking about Storybrooke. It starts off with this deal that Rumpel and Dairy Queen are making together. And here's what Rumpel says.
And I'll be here too, spending every waking moment of my immortal life trying to rip your heart out.
Such endearing words.
Those are so endearing.
Why did she say enjoy your trip? Like it was a temporary thing.
I don't think that implies that's a temporary thing. Because he's going on a trip, or he wants to go on a trip, and that is to leave Storybrooke.
Yeah.
I think he failed. He definitely did not get his loved ones out of the town in time.
Well, I wonder whether he has the power to prevent Belle and Henry from being affected by the spell.
He didn't do anything to Henry, though.
No, he didn't.
It hasn't happened. We haven't seen Belle and Henry get affected yet, though.
Right. The only people we've seen be affected is kind of Kristoff, unless he was just struggling with a sneeze. And we saw
there was glass
Charmings
flying into his eye.
Yeah,
I think that was kind of the face.
So they could always go, like they could kind of pick up from there when they start the next episode and show whatever they want to show at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I really liked how this episode progressed. The more I watched it, the more I liked this episode. The way that they are preparing for the inevitable. There's something really cool when the heroes just have to prepare for the inevitable. They realize we can't stop this.
Yeah.
We just have to let it come.
Let it go.
It reminded me a lot of things in this episode reminded me of the pilot, because in the pilot they're doing the same thing. They know that they can't stop the curse, and they are just doing basically damage control at this point.
There are a lot of parallels between this and the pilot, as well as several other episodes, but especially with the pilot episode. Like, while we're on that topic, when Snow gave up Neil to Emma just before a curse is coming, huge. That's the biggest one, I think. The biggest parallel with this whole episode is how that ties back in with the pilot.
Yeah.
And I expected to almost see Snow cry in the same way as back then. We didn't see a cool sword fight, though.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Emma
Well, maybe Emma's going to sword fight with her baby.
Yeah, that would be cool.
They
Hold on,
also
little brother.
also just the faith that they're putting in Emma once again in this episode is exactly the same. Like, they had faith that when they put that baby Emma in the wardrobe, she would find them and she would save them. And they are having full faith again in this episode in Emma, in that she's the savior, in that she's immune, and in her powers that she will save them from this.
Oh yeah, and it's great to see them embracing that.
Hmm. That was a very emotional moment as well.
One of the things I did think of several times in this episode is why don't they just hide from this? Why can't they make a shield? But Regina did answer that when they were looking from the clock tower. She said, "This is magic. It doesn't care about ceilings."
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Regina might have been able to put some kind of a, oh, I don't know, protective dome over something, especially having until sundown and
I
with
don't
Emma.
know.
But there again, just like I said before, that would have been Regina and Emma and maybe Elsa, like sort of standing in the street doing a thing to kind of stop the curse.
Right. Or protect themselves from it.
Hmm.
Maybe Cora didn't teach her that one.
Maybe not.
Well, even Rumple can't, or at least it seems that maybe he can't. He's just protecting Belle from everyone else. But he's going to have to deal with Belle when he tries to take Belle and
Mhm.
Henry out of town, if the storyline gets that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precedent. I did kind of predict this. Precedent with magic is very difficult. Cora did it. She wasn't the most powerful, but she did it. So it feels like others should be able to do it too.
Except what Cora did prevented them from being taken with the dark curse, but it didn't prevent them from being frozen by the dark curse.
Hmm.
Right.
Remember, she did
That's true.
She did tell Hook, "We will be frozen for 28 years."
That's true.
So even she couldn't completely protect herself from it.
I'm kind of confused as to what Dairy Queen's endgame is, and I don't think I'm the only one. I think Rumpelstiltskin is confused about it too, since he's kind of just like, yeah, you three are going to be here just hanging out together. Like,
Right.
what does she think? Like, it's not like she's cursing Emma and Elsa. So does she think, is it going to be like Stockholm syndrome? Like, they're the only three alive, so suddenly Emma and Elsa have to like her? But I don't get
She'll
what
be all
she's.
like, come, let's run through a field and chase a kite. Step over the bodies. It's fine. Come on. Let's go have fun.
Yeah.
You guys.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
And neither
we
does
know that
Rumpelstiltskin.
unless you change the laws of magic with some genies, a la Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, wonderlandpodcast.com if you never listened to that, then you can't force someone to love you with magic. You can make them think they love you. We've
Yeah.
learned that odd rule. I think that somehow Ingrid is probably thinking, "Oh, we're like sisters. We all have magic. We've all struggled to accept the magic that we have. This is just going to be fine for us." I don't think she really thought it out completely,
No.
but we'll find out.
Yes, we will.
I was thinking when they went to the wall, because they got this great idea, let's not be in town. When they went to the wall of ice, I was thinking at that moment, boy, wouldn't it be nice if we still had a nice big dragon in a basement somewhere that we could just all hitch a ride on the dragon and fly out over this large ice wall?
Because she would definitely have done that for them.
Or use the fire. They could just make the dragon fiery breath on the wall, melt it.
Yeah.
I was probably happier than I should have been when David struck the wall and got blown backwards, and then extra ice spikes come out of the ground as if to say, don't try it again. I was unreasonably happy simply because they're describing their plan, and I just wanted to cry because I just didn't even want to watch. But they didn't really get to pursue that plan, and I was quite happy.
I loved that they sent David to the wall. Like, I like David. I have nothing against him, but of the group of them, he's arguably for definitely the weakest magic-wise, and like arguably Snow is physically as strong as him. So it's like there's 3 magical people there. It's a magical wall, and you're sending David with his like sword and a sword to go challenge this wall. I thought it was like,
Well,
oh, okay, we'll let David try, make him feel like he's worthy.
he's helping. Traditionally, though, aren't you supposed to send one of the lesser dwarves?
Well, yeah, they had a dwarf right there with them. Why
Yeah, but he
didn't
wasn't one of the lesser ones, but still, he should have been the protector who tests the barrier of the town. They're supposed to test the town line. That's how it works.
Why didn't Grumpy have a part in this? He's the dwarf with the diamond cutting pickaxe.
Yeah. In fact, the more I think about it, the sadder I am because it's always been the dwarves testing the town line.
Yeah.
He should have been the one.
That's true.
Maybe they just
David
didn't have a
has
stunt
been
diver.
downgraded.
David is now charming the dwarf.
Well, he did
I,
hang out with the dwarves a lot.
He did.
I loved Regina's comment. Is everybody into this hope thing now? Oh. I just love her one-liners. Like she's doing the good thing, right? She's being good, but then she still has like the wit of the evil queen.
Right.
Yeah. And also all of the references to Snow White's wavering faith and hope and everything that just didn't seem right to come from Snow White.
Yeah.
That's what happens when she's a mother and mayor and all of that.
I liked the argument too about who was Henry's best chance, since that's similar to the pilot as well.
Yeah, they said it here about Henry, and they also said it in the library about giving everyone their best chance.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think it was said in the sheriff's office.
Hmm.
Yeah, some other nice connections back with the pilot and also former previous episodes from season 1. When Emma and Elsa visited Belle, I'm glad that. Wait, let me try this differently. When Emma and Elsa visited Belle, they got this location spell there, and we know now that there are 2 different types of location spells. There's the kind that makes something glow brighter as you get closer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Rumpel enchanted on Charming's ring back in the season 1 finale, called A Land Without Magic. And it's what they put on then Anna's necklace there that made it glow. And then there's the other location spell, like they used on Jefferson's hat,
Mm-hmm.
on the capes, on
One that
all of
makes you
these
run
different
around like
pieces
an
of
idiot.
wardrobe. Yeah, on Emma's scarf and all of this stuff, where you're chasing an object and the object leads you to something. But like Regina said previously, when Regina was leading Emma through the woods to try and find the Snow Queen, there are many different types of spells to use.
Yeah.
And different kinds of location spells.
Because
So
also,
we've only seen 2 different kinds now.
well, and blood magic with the globe.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we've seen 3 or 4 probably.
Blood
I think there's
magic.
another one.
Hashtag season 2.
I loved when they were talking about the vaccine. I was thinking that's a really, really useless vaccine. And then I realized that's kind of how vaccines actually work in real life, is that you kind of like put part of it in you and then your body is immune to it. So you have to have the virus to make the vaccine.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense, but I'm like, as Belle is explaining this, I'm just like, that's useless, and this is like useless time of this episode being used because that's not going to work.
In our chat room, Lucifer Jr. also pointed out that Bo Peep's staff was another location thing. And there was a mirror that we saw previously when we got to see Ariel and Eric together through the mirror. So there have been lots of things that we've seen for people to be able to find each other.
And they always will.
They always will, yep. When Hook and Mr. Gold were at the docks, I could really sense how much Gold absolutely despises the fairies.
Yeah, it was
Who
intense.
nuns? Calling them fleas and everything.
I still want to know why they're still living as nuns. They're not nuns. They're fairies who were cursed, and they're still Mother Superior.
Jeremy, they are both.
No, they're not. No, they're not. What are they even doing?
Yeah, his Gold's comparison of them to an infestation is it was really dark, and I wonder if it's because he knows that they are his greatest, like the greatest threat to him.
And it might also be because, as we've discussed in previous seasons, the original reason, and let me say this differently. I think it could also be because, as we've discussed in previous seasons, a fairy gave the magic bean to Balefire in the first season. And it was because of a fairy that he came to a land without magic. And the fairy wouldn't help Rumple figure out a way to get back to Bay. So I think there's been this animosity all this time because the fairies, according to this episode, work with light magic, and Rumple, as the dark one, works with dark magic. So they're just against each other.
But even with his apparent either regression or lack of growth, you would think somewhere in there, as he's been able to understand that he's done this to himself throughout the ages, that it was his choice to not go.
Yeah.
His choice. So you would think that the hatred would subside a little bit.
Well, he's doing that thing that people do in this world, which is not taking responsibility for his own actions.
Right.
So any person he can put the responsibility off on is going to be the subject of his hatred.
Yeah. And he only cares about himself.
I suppose. I could have sworn he'd made speeches in which he did take responsibility, but that's cool.
Well, this doesn't sound like taking responsibility.
I don't have time for everyone else. And if I have to choose between everyone else and me, then me wins every time.
Yeah.
I want to know why he didn't use the hat on the Snow Queen, which could have avoided a whole lot of this. And she has tons of power, which we've seen.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because he doesn't care about everyone else or anyone else. And
yeah, but it would have been a nice side effect to just avoid the drama.
But then there would be all of these other attachments. Emma, the Charmings. He wouldn't be able to take Henry, which apparently, when did he start caring so much about Henry that he wants to take Henry out of this? I mean, in a way, it's like, yes, finally you're caring about your grandson, the only living relative you have
Right, like,
left.
are you sure you wouldn't rather just put him up on top of the ice spikes?
I think it's more so just like, how would he make a happy life with Belle on the outside? Oh, let's add, a son that I lost that now I can raise my grandson. And I don't know that he actually cares about Henry as Henry. I think he more so cares about Henry as a symbol of his son and as a symbol of what life could be like.
Yeah. Well, he's actually blood, I guess.
Yeah,
True.
He is.
Speaking of the ice spikes, though, why is the wall just now emerging from the ocean?
Because they thought about it. Because it works for the plot, unfortunately.
Because I thought the implication when Elsa put the wall up was that it was going to encircle the town. Those were pretty much literally her words, I thought. Or at least they had explained that that is what had happened so that nobody could leave. They've been so confident that no one could go anywhere. If they could have sailed a boat out of town any time, they shouldn't have been so confident that, say, Will had not left town back when they were hunting for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think showing us the ice wall in the ocean would have been cool. It didn't need to emerge from the ocean at that moment. Unless I'm missing something.
Just the extra dramatic effect, I think.
I suppose.
Speaking of Will, he seems to be back to Robin Hood's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And yet we
weird.
still don't have more story from Will.
Did Robin's yelling seem a little strange to anybody else?
I didn't think anything strange of it.
It was just funny because Will was right behind him. He's like, right here. Stop
Oh,
yelling.
but Will made that comment too. I think he.
Right.
It's kind of like when you're in a house and you yell for someone and you don't realize they're right behind you, and they're like, "Don't yell, I can hear you." I wonder if they're like they introduced Will at the very beginning, but they're dragging it on. So I wonder if they're like giving oncers time to catch up on Wonderland before they do some
Hmm.
big revelations.
If they want us to catch up on Wonderland,
They should
release the
release.
DVDs and
Yes,
Blu-rays.
preferably Blu-ray. Yeah, Blu-ray would be great, and the soundtrack. But
I
it is still
was
possible for people to catch up because they can buy it on
It
iTunes.
is. Or watch it on Netflix
Or Hulu or
yeah.
Amazon Prime and all of those places. Yeah.
So Regina thinks everyone except Robin and Henry not only don't believe in her, but look at her with hatred.
Are going to look at her at hatred. I think that's what she was communicating.
I don't think so. She implied that he was the only one who looked at her without hatred, and soon he would too. I just think she needs to go talk to Dr. Hopper because she's got
yeah.
problems.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was true before. I really think a lot of people consider her an ally at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Besides, then Dr. Hopper could be in it more.
It is honorable for what she's doing, locking herself up, realizing how big of a threat she is to everyone else, because she now is, I'm thinking here, I'm pretty sure she is now the only other magical being in the town besides Emma and Rumpelstiltskin.
And she already has a lot of stuff toward people in town, and she's pretty powerful.
And everyone has a lot of stuff toward her. Even if they've forgiven her now, that darkness is going to come up and people would be walking around with pitchforks again.
Yeah. The scene when she said why she was locking herself up, she did an amazing job.
She did. To me, that shows how much she really has changed, that she cares that much about other people. But I had a little bit of a theory that she maybe won't be impacted by this curse because she already sees, I was going to say sees and then I needed to change to past tense. She already saw the worst in everybody. That's what she spent the majority of her life living. And she's made a choice to not do that anymore. So I wonder if because that's already how she's felt about people, maybe the curse won't have the same impact on her. Like she already looks through people through tainted glasses or whatever. And so really would her under this curse be any different from the evil queen that we knew for the first 2 seasons of the show?
Good question.
So maybe she also needs to lock herself in to keep people out as well.
Right.
Because they will hate her.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll get to see her throwing a magical temper tantrum there in her vault. Well, who's going to let these people out? Or at least her. Who will let her out? Because she trapped herself in. And a lot of people were talking about chaining themselves to things. And it seems like if you chain yourself to something, can't you unchain yourself?
I would think so.
Or aren't you just setting yourself up as a sitting duck for everyone else?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of faith on the Savior this time.
It could be that the way that the spell is working is that it makes you have these thoughts of ugliness and evil toward only people you care about and not just anybody. But if that's the case, then only half of the town would kill the other half, and there would still be half left.
How did it work?
Ambiguous.
How did it work in the fairy tale? It was just like in the Snow Queen.
Yeah, it was that they saw ugliness around them in anyone, and it wasn't anything specifically. Although the way that the story goes is that the two main characters, the boy did get the shattered sight or the mirror pieces in his own eyes, and that's when he looked at Gerda with hatred and saw her as ugly.
Right. I'm interested to see how the curse happens. Affects everybody.
On the note.
Yeah.
Open the bottle.
Well, I think a
Find it.
key. I went back and rewatched part of the pilot episode and listened to what Gerda actually said as they were sending the note.
Are you sure we're doing the right thing?
Yes! Anna and Elsa must know the truth! It's the only thing that will save them!
Know the truth, and the only thing that will save them.
Not to mention, are we doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing at that moment except dying?
Well, sending out this note that Gerda had written.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this truth that will save them? That is a truth, as we mentioned in the initial reactions, a truth that we don't already know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder if that might be something that's kind of revealed, but is actually not important to the Once Upon a Time storyline. And so maybe once everything is resolved in Storybrooke, Anna and Elsa have to like depart to go deal with some quest that their parents sent them on, or take back their kingdom from Hans, or
Yeah, that's a whole plot point that's going to need to come up again in the future. Now that Hans owns the kingdom in present day fairy tale land.
Yeah.
Anna,
He doesn't, though. Like, he has no rightful claim.
yeah, no rightful claim. And didn't the people watch Frozen? Don't they know that he was the one that did all of this
Right, I
bad
would think
stuff?
that they would understand. They all know. It was pretty public.
Unless they think suddenly, oh, Elsa's gone evil again. She's uncontrollable. This is just going to be like it was before and just worse this time.
but they don't like Once generally does not have these storylines hang around after they're gone, like after they're finished. The temporary, like we've never seen any other Peter Pan characters again, even though we know they're kind of hanging out in Storybrooke. So that would be kind of a good wrap up of, okay, so this is good. We're like, if they wrap it up, this is good, we're done. Okay, so now we have to go do this thing our mom sent us on, and maybe we're going to check back in a couple like random episodes like Philip and Aurora
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see something like that.
I don't think they're going to add these 4 characters as series regulars and, have it be Once Upon a Time in Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the lessons the characters need to learn is always check your order before you leave the drive-thru. If someone gives you a bag that's supposed to contain a magical item in it, always look inside the bag.
Or at the very least, if someone gives you a bag that's supposed to contain a solid object that's maybe on a chain, and instead it contains pebbles from inside the cave, maybe you should be able to feel the difference through the bag with your fingers.
This is the 3rd or 4th time this has happened to someone in Once Upon a Time. The most prominent other time was when Hook gave the bean, supposedly, and he didn't really.
I honestly thought Emma coached Elsa into doing that when they were off talking and Emma was getting the necklace. I totally thought that Emma was saying, okay, so I'm over here talking to you. You're going to pretend to give me the necklace. Really, you need to go really quickly to the elevator. And perhaps Emma did know that Elsa was going to do that. I think Emma really wanted to save Anna.
Yeah.
For Elsa.
But it was a decision for everyone. And it was a hero decision.
Mm-hmm.
I still think since it wasn't as good of a chance as having Anna, I think it would have been more likely that maybe Emma would have not been quite as scaredy cat of a cave-in and let someone try to get through the wall before they gave up.
Yeah.
But, I suppose it was pretty traumatic, almost freezing to death and all.
I think maybe what they were trying to do here, and I don't know that they did it effectively, was, okay, so Emma has been holding against her parents for 4 seasons that they gave her away for basically that they put the needs of the kingdom over the needs of her as a baby. And they've brought that up really like a lot recently in the last couple episodes where Emma's been, struggling. And then it's kind of like this is the same kind of situation. Do they save one or do they save the masses? And I think they were maybe trying to show that Emma finally got it. Like she gets the sacrifice that they had to make, and sometimes you have to sacrifice one thing for the greater good. But I don't know that they communicated her getting that very well. Because she said,
That's
"Yeah,
interesting.
I hear it when they were all talking." But then she kind of let Elsa go with the necklace, and who knows?
Hmm.
The scene at the diner was eventually what it led up to was really, when you think about it, pretty horrific. Cook is basically doing a massacre
Mm-hmm.
in there by sucking
Mhm.
everyone up into the hat as they're trying to work on this white or light magic spell.
Yeah, I'd like everyone to take note of that, or at least not certain people who seem to have it in for Blue. She uses light magic, guys. Maybe she's not a secret villain that they hardly ever put in the show anymore.
Yeah.
She's just the blue fairy. Now we sing Let It Go. Light magic.
Aaron, you have several notes on the diner scene.
Yeah, I'm most of them
Are
are.
those just interesting things or anything you want to talk about?
No, it's fine. We can move on. We've kind of said a lot of it, and
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy, we covered one of your points on the next scene, not the other.
about the beach.
Okay.
When Emma and Elsa broke through that wall, or rather, Elsa did,
Which
I
no map could have predicted.
I seriously thought first when we saw it that was a portal back to Arendelle.
Oh,
But no, it's just the beach.
I'm glad they didn't hit any tourists who were all over the place behind them. But why did the necklace, after they walked up and down the beach, stop glowing?
Well,
Yeah.
Was it kind of like, it's like, it was like, yeah, things do not look good for Anna. I'm not even gonna, like, I'm done. She's
that's what I
definitely
was
going to
thinking.
die.
She didn't look good in that trunk. Anna didn't. Later, I know it wasn't chronologically in order, but Anna did not look good in that trunk. She looked very cold and like she was running out of air and very hopeless, which is funny for Anna. So,
Just like Snow White did before Prince Charming came and kissed her after he was led by the same spell. It doesn't quite line up.
That's funny.
I know we tend to overthink things, which is why Once Upon a Time should hire one of us to help them think through some of their plots.
exactly.
Or even just certain moments, like when they washed up on the beach and the trunk pops open.
Yeah.
Like that would have been cool if they could have gotten out of the trunk, a little while ago. Maybe Elsa should have opened the trunk.
The water pressure kept it closed.
Oh, okay.
We'll pretend that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Well, okay. Or there's something about the spell. It made the bottle have some dramatic timing where it pops up at the right moment. The trunk also could not open until the right moment.
Mhm.
It just has a sense of timing.
It was a pretty powerful spell though, like that blast back that Emma and Elsa
Loosened it up.
experienced. I likened that to Emma Care Bear staring Cora in the episode Queen of Hearts. It was kind of the same effect, if you will. So, wishing Anna here now to me means not in a trunk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's funny. But if they hadn't had the whirlpool effect, number one, she'd have Anna, and Anna would be like, yeah, so that left Kristoff to die. And they also wouldn't have the note in the bottle.
Yeah.
True. Well, we do know that the magical water runs under all the lands, so It's not that big of a stretch.
Yeah, but why did the wishing star, or the spell rather, lead them to this spot? Did it know that that's where Anna and Kristoff would pop up?
I don't think so.
Because they weren't there. But then again, the whole Eric cloak enchantment led
Yeah.
his cloak into the water. So maybe that's just what any kind of locator spell does, is that if the person isn't in our world, it takes you to the water.
Well, which makes sense though, because the water's the only thing that's connecting the worlds, right?
I don't think it's that water. That's the ocean.
But
I don't think. I don't know. I don't. Was it supposed to be the same water, like in the well?
yeah, I guess they should have led it to the well, but that's true. They just said that the water runs under all the magical lands. I don't
Yeah.
even know if that was said in Once Upon a Time or Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. I liked the sister reunion though. That was
Yeah, that was
perfect.
great.
Right? I heard a little more of what they were saying this time, and like Kristoff too. They were all talking at the same time, and they said almost all of the essentials, the things that needed to be said, like the 30 years and
I
what
was
had
looking for
happened.
you. That's exactly, I think, what a reunion like that would be like with my sister. It would be talking at the same time over each other, saying all the important things that we were thinking. Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, Sophie said it pulled the heartstrings, and Lucifer Jr. said best part of the series. It was great. Yeah.
Hmm.
When they're in town walking toward the diner, we learned that this spell of Shattered Sight is apparently like chickenpox. Once you get it, you can't be affected again,
And I'll bet it's itchy.
which makes Anna an unexpected problem for Ingrid. Because Ingrid
Like she does.
Ingrid did not have any prediction that Anna would show up.
True.
And maybe Ingrid doesn't even know that once you're affected by the spell, you can't be affected again.
It'll be really sad when Kristoff kills her in the first 5 minutes of the next episode because they sat right next to him while it hit.
Yeah, but he is chained to the desk, and she's not. And I didn't catch what they said that she was going to be immune. And they said it twice, actually, once there on the street and then once in the sheriff's office. So they definitely
Yeah.
made the point that she would be immune to it.
Which explains the not separating or tying them up because they theorize that Elsa will be immune and they believe Anna will be immune. So I guess they should definitely hug while the curse hits instead of taking precautions.
Yeah.
What if they're wrong? What if the ribbons don't mean they're immune?
Oh, they're going to be.
I think
Because it
they
kind of
are.
sounded like, jumping back to the scene at the beginning,
It'd be better for her if those two hate everybody in town.
well, it sounded like at the scene at the beginning of the episode that Rumpel was asking Ingrid to write something into the curse, basically, because she was in the process of kind of casting it and controlling it, and he made this deal with her, and it seemed like she had power to affect that. So maybe she actually had power to ensure that the curse doesn't affect Belle or Henry, but Rumpel didn't let on that he knew it wouldn't affect Belle because he needs to do some things first while Belle is locked up.
That's interesting.
Which just Rumpelstiltskin. Jeez.
Right.
But he has
Um,
Hook's heart still. So what else is he going to do? He did say there's one other thing.
Well, Belle's also safer, to his credit,
Yeah.
locked up while he's making sure he gets his power while they leave town.
yeah. And Hook, I don't think Hook has time to go chain himself to the dock. So I think
Maybe,
he's going to be.
Regina poofed him too. Here,
Oh,
me in the vault, you at the dock.
did that happen?
No, probably not, but that's
Oh,
how
okay.
I'm choosing to explain Regina's sudden arrival at the vault with minutes to spare
Oh, okay.
while
Sorry.
we're still in the mayor's office.
Yeah, I felt really bad for Hook this episode. And I think Emma, did you guys notice there was a definite, like, when she kissed him after she pulled away, she knew something was off.
Right.
And that's the only other time to my recollection that we have seen somebody without a heart kissing somebody.
Yeah, she
Is
didn't pick it
in
up the first time though.
No, but it's in Wonderland. Wasn't there something about when Will got his heart back?
Oh yeah, he had a really passionate kiss with Anastasia.
Yeah, I thought there was something before he got his heart back that they could tell he didn't have a heart by his kiss
I
or
yeah,
something. But
I can't remember it at the moment, but yeah, I think there is something else then.
yeah,
And then there
I
was the
think
kiss between Emma and Graham.
I wonder if that like I just it's too intentional of an acting thing with after the kiss for it to not matter to me in a future episode. Like the
Right.
fact that Emma noticed something. And Hook seems pretty upset about, killing a bunch of nuns for somebody who has no heart also.
Yeah. Yeah, he can
He
still
was
feel.
he was nearly in tears. So I feel bad for
Yeah, I
him.
think he should probably care a little less.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't have a heart, and they kind
Oh
of
yeah,
waffle on what that means.
that's what I mean, yeah. But in their defense, like the Knave of Hearts in Wonderland was able to do a lot of righteous things and make very good decisions and
Yeah,
care
but he was
about
completely
people.
aloof. He hardly cared. He was kind of like, you might die.
Something made him continue to help Alice.
He wanted wishes.
That's true.
Yeah, that's where it was back in Wonderland. But here in Storybrooke,
Whoops, wrong show.
the scene and the collection of scenes that started here with the sheriff's office, I think were just really great. Seeing the montage of everyone else as
Hmm.
the spell is approaching.
Yeah. They were very well acted, very emotional.
A lot of great acting in this
Yeah.
episode, I think.
And as Jeremy pointed out, Regina basically expressing why she was locking herself away was pretty powerful and to me speaks a lot to her changes as a character,
Mhm.
the transformation that she's gone through.
Now, as the curse is coming, Emma has baby Neil there, and she kind of shields him, but I don't think that's going to actually end up protecting him. So is he going to become like demon baby?
I I actually wonder if he might be the key to um I don't know. I wonder if he's going to be important because to me, he can't see evil if he's never had that. He's never experienced it. So I wonder if he's going to somehow be either key to breaking it or just immune to it in general.
I think if
Um,
anyone is going to be key, it's going to be Anna because she's immune and
mhm.
she's unexpectedly there in Storybrooke.
Yes, which I do have a theory about that as well with the ribbons. Because I wonder what will happen if somehow Anna gets Ingrid's ribbon on her wrist. It's kind of like she's a fourth wheel sister that is not supposed to be there, and there's only three ribbons.
Well,
So,
Elsa can't take the ribbon off.
but what if they somehow get the ribbon off of Ingrid and put it on Anna?
Hmm.
Some magic or something. Or some act of true love that breaks any curse.
There needs to be a kiss somewhere. Somebody kiss somebody.
Or a sacrifice or a
Well, that's
hug.
not likely.
Or just a really good sisterly hug.
What about True Hate's punch? Is that going to do anything these days? Because that's all they're going to have.
Ooh. Um, moving on. I don't have a lot
I
to
don't either.
say. Okay. So you want to skip your next points, Jeremy?
Where are we?
Locking in Henry.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go there because I'll just incorporate because I just question the general locations of people.
Well, you already did that.
Well, then I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
I thought I had a note about baby Neil that said what I wanted to say a lot more articulately than I just did.
It's
But
under Charmings and the Arendellians at the sheriff's office.
oh, well, fine. I'm just okay. That's fine. I kind of said that anyway.
Okay. Jeremy, you feel free to make the transition since you've got something to say.
So as Regina and Henry are getting ready to part, she apologizes for not focusing on Operation Mongoose. Why? What would that have changed? I'm not sure I understood that.
I think she just wants him to know that operation is important to her as well. That he's important to her.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because she hasn't really been spending much time with him lately.
Okay,
I think it's just like guilty parent syndrome.
sure. Yeah, so then she seals him in her office. Does her office have a bathroom?
Let's hope so. Let's hope
Is there-
everywhere that everyone has been sealed has a bathroom.
Well, Hook's chaining himself to the dock where I feel like he's just there for an angry mob to come like make him fish food. That offers no protection.
Yeah.
You don't think?
A lot of people are going to be sitting ducks.
It's true.
Robin is
I-
chaining himself to a tree.
I feel like I don't know for sure that the curse is going to make people be angry mobs, though. I guess it could, but from what we saw of Belle, it was more vicious words and hurtful things said than.
Well, and then she stabbed her husband in the neck.
That's true. I forgot about that part.
A little bit. So there's that.
Touche.
But you're right. I'm not sure. I guess it's more than just how you see people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it probably takes away all your inhibitions as well. And you start doing stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, they mentioned Marion was hidden away from Robin somewhere where he doesn't know where she is. So if everyone in Arendelle is unfrozen, but probably a few days ago, might this curse just automatically make Marion unfreeze as well?
It might.
I hope they don't do something like Robin actually kills her.
That'd be terrible.
That would be.
That'd be dumb, kind of.
Let's hope they don't do that.
Although, where is Marion's heart?
True.
Is it in the vault with Regina?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You think she would pull it out and crush
She
it?
might.
I hadn't thought about that.
I'm wondering if Regina, being who she is going to be affected but able to fight it more than most. So she may be sitting there with the heart kind of like really wanting to freeze it, like everything is ice to me now. Like she's going to want to crush it but she's going to try not to.
She would be like I would love to see a scene like that acted by Lana
Exactly,
Parrilla.
from her anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that would be an awesome scene. Like a scene of her fighting basically evil Queen Lana fighting with kind of I'm a little bit good now but still sarcastic Regina.
When the curse actually hit, I didn't notice this the first time, Jeremy. I think you pointed it out to me later, but we actually see Charming's reflection in Snow's eye as the curse then crystallizes her eyes.
That was a wicked effect.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I liked
And then his
that
eyes
effect.
were a little bit like that too when they pulled back.
The way it was just silent almost at the
Yeah.
end, that was really cool. A really neat
Yeah.
effect as it just laid in the emotion of the moment and seeing them. No words whatsoever
Yeah.
had to be spoken.
My favorite thing.
Yeah.
It was chilling. And then Boom, and the episode of Lost was over.
One of the theories that we got in from, this is from Jessica, said if they are going the route of the original story, the power of love is what saved the boy in the story. That is the Snow Queen original story. On Wikipedia, it said in summary, Gerda runs up to Kai. Gerda and Kai are the two main characters in the story. Gerda runs up to Kai and kisses him, and he is saved by the power of her love. Gerda weeps warm tears on him, melting his heart and burning away the troll mirror splinter in it. As a result, Kai bursts into tears, which dislodge the splinter from his eye, and becomes cheerful and healthy again with sparkling eyes and rosy cheeks. Jessica continues with saying, I don't really see Emma and Elsa going around kissing and crying on people, but maybe there's something that, quote, melts the heart, unquote, of the Snow Queen, which ends or reverses the curse somehow. Interesting theory, Jessica. We know this whole thing of true love's kiss is supposed to break any spell. What has to happen here?
Yeah.
Well, we are like, this is kind of what I was talking about with the ribbons, but we're very aware of how much power of love those ribbons supposedly hold. Enough that Rumpelstiltskin traded them for, or enough that the Snow Queen wanted them. And then now we actually have a feasible, like, good third person. Like, I say they cut off Ingrid's hand, get the ribbon. It would not be the first time something like that happened in this show. Get the ribbon, we put it on Anna, and then Ingrid probably ceases to be a problem in some way.
Here's my prediction.
Not unrelated to the amount of blood she would lose.
Well,
Here's my
Roxanne
prediction
got
for what's
cut
going
off.
to happen. Is I think that we've seen this wishing star now that has this incredible power to wish someone back from a different world. What if the end game here is that Ingrid gets that star, or she has it at some moment, and for whatever reason, it works for her, and she says,
Makes no difference who you are.
She says, I just wish my sisters were back. And then poof, Gerda and Helga are back, even though they're both dead. Because I don't want to see that, but I wonder if that's the end game they're going toward. Because something like the wishing star, you can't just discard that. That's extremely powerful.
You can't, but you also can't bring someone back from the dead.
Right.
Well, and only somebody pure of heart can use it.
No, and she is so not
So
that.
I don't think
That's
Ingrid
what I'm
fits
saying.
that. You're saying that it would work for her somehow anyway?
Somehow, maybe like she combines this magical element on top of a genie lamp, and that gives her unlimited wishes, a la the DuckTales movie.
I hope maybe that the wishing thing is out of wishes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, so many things they could do. Like, hey,
And
let's take down the ice
yeah.
wall. Or maybe the curse never happened. Or something.
It's going to have to have some limits to it.
Yeah. Would they need the bottle wait, okay, that was bad English. Would they have needed the bottle to follow them to Storybrooke, the bottle with the note from the parents, if she was going to wish back her sisters? I don't think Ingrid wants her sisters back. Well, not the one that put her in the urn anyway.
Right.
Right. So there's got to be some kind of end game that breaks this spell.
There's there's one episode left before the mid-season finale? Two.
I'm sorry. There are 2 episodes left before the hiatus.
It's that time of year when we get to start saying the word penultimate again.
I
Yes, we've
thought there
got
was
2
only
episodes
one.
left.
That
2.
changes my theories a little bit.
2 total.
Yeah. And then we have the hiatus.
The really long hiatus.
So the next episode will probably be with everybody being affected by the spell and running around doing whatever
Rabble,
crazy
rabble,
things.
rabble.
Yeah. And then the episode after that will probably be they're breaking the spell somehow and dealing with Ingrid, unless they carry it across into the second half of the season,
Hmm.
which I wouldn't be surprised in some ways. In other ways, I would be surprised if they do that.
I think that would be
it'd be-
inconsistent for them to do.
Yeah, and I think there's not a lot left to tell.
Yeah. They've got to give us
I-
some kind of big cliffhanger for the end of the first half of the season.
Like they did at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did this episode not feel like it was like so fast paced in everything that happened that it was kind of like the episode before a finale? I think that's why
episode.
No, like the episode that sets everything up for like the final finale. That's why I'm thinking. That's why I thought there was only one more left.
Well, a lot of this
it's like,
felt
okay.
like the mid-season finale in season 3, where they're preparing for the inevitable to come and loved ones are having to say goodbye and separate themselves. A lot of parallels there.
Yeah.
But yet this isn't the end of the season.
Right.
Or mid-season even.
Hmm.
And I'm sure they're not going to give us 2 completely different episodes that involve time travel like they did last season.
No.
Oh, it's because we got the extra hour. I think that's why I'm confused.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so instead of just 11 hours this first half of the season, we're getting 12 hours. And I have a theory that we might get 12 hours for the second half of the season as well.
Never know.
That could be really
That
cool
would be
if they do that.
Yeah.
We are going to have a season 4 finale party in the greater Cincinnati area. So as soon as we know the exact date that finale will be aired, we'll be pulling together details for that. So we'd love to meet you here. I know that several have said that, yes, we're going to come. Whatever date it is, we are going to be there. And we hope that you can make it too. We'll post details about that when we have details, and we'll share them in the podcast.
Mother's Day, no doubt.
Yeah, it probably will be. So just start looking at travel plans for Mother's Day and such. But we'll be looking at, Cincinnati's a big area, so we'll be looking at possible locations for an event and where we might have it. So don't try to book a hotel yet if you're thinking of hotels or anything like that. But we'll have some more details when that comes about. This is the end of our discussion about this episode, Fall. But you can continue the discussion by commenting on our show notes at oncepodcast.com/173 or go to the forums at oncepodcast.com/forums. We'd love to connect with you there and hear more of your thoughts and theories about this episode and all of the episodes that we've seen to date and upcoming episodes. People are discussing spoilers in designated sections over there, and other people are discussing ideas without spoilers. It's a great place to be, and share your theories and comment on other people's theories too. Please send us your feedback on the next episode of Once Upon a Time when it airs. Put the title of that episode in the subject line of your email and send it to feedback@oncepodcast.com, or you can call and leave a voicemail at 903-231-2221, or send a voice message through the website at oncepodcast.com. We are going to change up a little bit how we handle the feedback, so we'll be incorporating more of your great feedback into upcoming episodes very soon, as we have not been doing as much recently, but we really appreciate the great feedback that we've been receiving. Before we go, Erin, you've got something really cool to tell us. You got to visit the Enchanted Forest. Tell us about it.
I did. I did not visit so much the Enchanted Forest, but I did visit Steveston. I was in BC for the last 3 weeks, visiting. My best friend lives there, and I had heard that they were going to be actually filming in Steveston. So I've been there before. In August, they weren't filming. You could barely recognize Steveston as being Storybrooke, other than a couple signs that I think they leave up all the time. But yes, I went, and they were actually filming. They were filming, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but they were filming 4/12. So the first episode that's going to air in March when they come back. and there's not really. Sorry, go ahead.
Nothing.
Oh, I thought. Sorry. But yeah, so there wasn't a lot of people watching. Like there weren't a lot of fans there because they just announced it, I guess, the night before. I knew a couple days in advance just because the girl that I was in touch with actually lives there, so they get notice ahead of time. But yeah, so we got to watch about 4 or 5 scenes being filmed. All of the principal cast were there, so that was cool to see. And it's very interesting and cold. So the very first thing I thought watching this episode when we see Elsa step out uh, into the outside from the library or whatever was, oh my goodness, she must be cold in that outfit. Because we were standing outside. I got there at about 9, and I know that so I met Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma, came over to talk to us about halfway through the day. So at about 2 o'clock, she came over, and I was so cold from standing outside since 9 that I could not really even think. And I was like handing her like a Sharpie to sign a thing, and I like was so uncoordinated, and I don't really get nervous when I meet people, so that's just I was so freezing cold, and I just can't imagine when they have to wear like Elsa didn't even have a cape most of this half of the season, and it was really cold there. Like it was a, about freezing Celsius. So I think that's like 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, it was really interesting.
I thought you were going to say you accidentally gave her a Sharpie tattoo on her hand and they were just going to have to run with it in the show.
Hopefully it
No,
said oncepodcast.com.
she was smart enough to be wearing gloves. I was not. But it was basically we had to like stand in one spot. So say we were standing beside Granny's diner, and then they shot a scene, and then we had to move to the opposite side of the street on the opposite side of the set. So like way down by like the hardware store. And then we had to move across the street on that side, and then we had to move back across the street on the far side, all for them to film one single scene.
How many cameras were they shooting with?
I did not notice that.
I've just, as I get more into videography, I've been thinking about how many cameras in a multi-camera shot, or do they just do the same thing over and over and over again and position the camera somewhere else? I know that's another technique, but I was just a little curious about that.
They did the same scene from about 9 until 2.
Wow.
Over and over and over again. It was probably like a 48-second scene.
Did you see Kitsis or Horowitz there?
I did not see them, no. I think they're there now, this week.
Yeah, I see Adam Horowitz tweeting stuff about Canada.
Yeah.
So he's there now.
A girl who I ran, like one of the girls who I was standing with for most of the day, just met them. She tweeted a picture, so I think they're there now. I think she tweeted the picture today or yesterday. It was cool. Like Jared Gilmore came over. He had to go do school, so like he couldn't really stay like Jennifer Morrison did. Like Jennifer talked to everybody that was there and met everybody and posed with everybody, but Jared Gilmore just came over for a couple minutes and then had to leave. And the same with Colin O'Donoghue came over and then had to leave because they were only on breaks from filming, but I think Jennifer was done for the day, so it was nice. But also there were paparazzis that showed up partway through. So they ended up, when the paparazzis come, they open all of these black umbrellas around where they're filming so that the paparazzis can't take pictures.
Oh, funny.
But it was good because the paparazzis won't stand with the fans. I guess we're not cool enough for them. So we still got to see mostly because they were standing on like where they weren't supposed to be standing, and we were standing where we were told to stand, so we could still get like a clear shot of what they were filming. We just can't, like, you can't hear anything. So I have no great spoilers, but
well, you did have some spoilers, and from what I've heard, because I still stay spoiler free, Hunter and Jacqueline did share them in the last episode. So thanks for passing along that great information. About how many people, like just really rough guess, how many people were watching?
Oh, I would say by the end of the day, there were maybe 40, but when I got there, there were less than 10 of us. So it's kind of more as word got out and as classes let out, and because so they broke for lunch at 4. They'd been there since 7. They broke for lunch at 4, and they were going to be there till 11. So I actually left.
Any other?
I didn't. I just met those, and I didn't actually meet Jared Gilmore either. So I met just Jennifer Morrison and Colin O'Donoghue.
Did you meet any other listeners of the podcast up there? Like anyone recognize you or recognize your voice?
I don't think so, but I told everybody about it.
Awesome. I should have sent you with some cards.
Yeah, I did.
2,500 cards here.
Well, I added because we were all in a circle, and I don't have data on my phone because I have a phone from the 20th century. But I kept just sending random tweets just saying hi. So I would like say to, okay, what's your Twitter handle? Okay, like at Fleegon, hi. And then when I got to a computer, I went and we all followed each other. So I have a bunch of them on my Twitter now, but
nice.
I did talk about the podcast a lot because I kept saying, don't tell me any spoilers other than what we're seeing.
You're in Steveston. You got to remain spoiler free.
Yeah. It's a cool community, though, with all the people that go and watch all the time.
Yeah.
So
I got to talk to a gentleman that started a podcast about Steveston. He lives there. He's lived there for a long time, and it was going to be a Steveston podcast. I'm not sure if he still continued it, but he had me on his podcast once, and we were talking about Once Upon a Time's effect on the community, and it's really cool to see how the community enjoys this, or how they participate in it or become fans of it as well. Anything else cool from your trip there?
No, I don't think so. It's pretty much the highlight. I personally was so excited to meet Jennifer Morrison just because I run Ugly Ducklings Inc., which is uglyducklingsinc.com, which was inspired by her. So it was really cool to get to meet her, and like she knew who we were. So that was awesome.
Someday, Jeremy, we're going to make it up there.
Yes.
It's just an issue of money, really.
Right.
Because it costs a lot from where we are in the Cincinnati area. It costs a lot to make it up there.
I was 4 hours by car away at one point.
Let's not bring that up.
You guys should definitely fly into the States because it's the Canadian flights that get you too. And it's really close to the border. It's like an hour from the U.S. border.
Right.
I'm tempted to see if I could drive up there or something when I'm out in San Diego next year at a conference.
It's
only like a 20-hour drive. You could totally do it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Hunter is now out there in San Diego, so maybe like I could convince Hunter and her family to drive up, and I hitch a ride along with them.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well. Thanks for sharing. That was really cool that you were able to go there and meet some of the cast and see many of them, and that was really awesome. We'll get to do that someday as well.
Yeah.
But hey, we would love to have your feedback on upcoming episodes. So please go to the website oncepodcast.com, and all of the contact and feedback information is there. The one other thing that you could do that would help us out would be to write a review for us on iTunes. That really encourages us, and it helps other people find the podcast as well. And especially, I want to thank General Sunshine for writing a review for us, who said, "The Once podcast is like discussing your favorite TV show with your friends. Makes me feel like a Once Upon a Time insider. Funny, smart, quirky, and lovable. Great show." Thank you very much,
Quirky.
General Sunshine.
General Sunshine.
If you want to read
great.
the full review, you can get that link in the show notes at oncepodcast.com/173. And if you're a podcaster and you want your podcast reviews emailed to you automatically, like I have them emailed to me automatically, then go to oncepodcast. then go to mypodcastreviews.com. It's a service that I've created for that.
And before we go, we have an announcement from Disney today. There is going to be, before the premiere, well, starting with the premiere of Cinderella on March 13th, 2015, there is going to be a new short called Frozen Fever.
And guess what? We're going to get to see ahead of time Cinderella and the Frozen special.
That's true.
We'll be reviewing that for you, and we'll also be reviewing Into the Woods in just a couple weeks. Our podcast schedule will change for the mid-season hiatus, just that 1 week there, because the night that we would normally record the podcast is when Jeremy and I are going to go see Into the Woods. So prepare for that, and we'll let you know ahead of time what that schedule actually will be. Please connect with us on Twitter at OncePodcast, and I'm Daniel J. Lewis on Twitter at The Ramen Noodle.
I'm Jeremy Laughlin on Twitter at Phlegon. That's Phlegon.
I'm Erin, and I'm on Twitter at Erin J. Cruz.
This podcast would not be possible without our great team of volunteers. Corbin sorting our feedback, Jack writing our show notes, John Buchanan editing our episodes, Hunter and Jacqueline providing spoilers. You'll get to hear from them in just a moment. Jacqueline and Matthew Paul moderating the forums, Jacob helping with screenshots, Kev managing our timeline, Aliascape and Aaron J moderating the chat room, and Jeremy, Aaron, Hunter, and Jacqueline for hosting this podcast with us. Please comment on the show notes over at oncepodcast.com/173. Join the forums at oncepodcast.com/forums and send us your feedback on the upcoming episodes of Once Upon a Time. We love to hear from you and continue this. So until next time, you can clench your jaw and flash your eyes all you want and wish, because it doesn't change the fact that we're in this together. And thanks for listening. Once Podcast is a proud member of Noodle.mx Network. Find more of our award-winning and award-nominated podcasts to make you think, laugh, and succeed at Noodle.mx. I'm actually going to do that outro one more time.
Why?
Yeah. Until next time, remember, you can clench your jaw and flash your eyes all you wish, because it doesn't change the fact we're in this together. And thanks for listening. Big thanks to our sponsors for this episode of the podcast. If you'd like to be one of them and help keep the podcast running, because it does cost a lot to do this podcast, then please go to oncepodcast.com/sponsor to make a one-time donation, an automatic monthly donation, which is what helps us the most, or even a per episode donation through Patreon. That's at oncepodcast.com/sponsor. And big thanks for your support and everyone else who has supported the podcast. Okay.
Done?
Don't stop your recording yet, Aaron, or did you just?
Okay. No, I didn't.
Actually, never mind. Go ahead and stop your recording.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I paused mine, so I realized it's not going to sync up anymore.
Okay.
The one thing I thought of is I realized in the opening of this episode, we didn't mention anything about the upcoming thing of talking about your trip to Steveston, but I think that'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a
Okay.
little bonus for anyone who dares to stay for the
Hour and 42 minutes.
hour-long episode.
Or you could 2 hour. You could tag it on to the beginning too.
I was thinking of recording something, but
As a point of
Probably not.
reference, we could drive from here to Yellowstone, and it would only be 300 miles farther than San Diego to Steveston.
oh, okay. Not as doable.
It's 1,400 miles from San Diego to
Oh,
Steveston.
The reason I was thinking it would be doable is our friends Jeff and Colleen Roney, hosts of the Once Upon a Time fan podcast, live out there they're closer to LA, and they made the trip up there but I didn't remember how long it took them. And now that you say that, I think I do remember they're saying something about it took them a couple days.
You would get to travel the entirety of I-5.
Oh, nice. Always wanted to
It's
do that.
Border to
only,
border.
I thought it was only, because I Googled this because my friend lives out there, like a 17-hour drive from like San Francisco to
Mhm.
BC.
Yeah, but San Francisco's on the northern side of California, and San Diego's on the
Mid,
southern
anyway.
side.
Okay.
Yeah, mid.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
I'm going to be there again in August because the whole reason I went again now is because my best friend got engaged and she's getting married in August. So you guys should plan for then, and we
I'd
could
say
do
if you're
like a
already gonna be
live
there.
podcast
we'll
from
see.
Houston.
We'd have to raise some serious money for all of us to go, but we'll
Mhm.
see.
I
I will
have a,
definitely send you cards, though, to pass out.
yeah. I have a question for you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have like you guys get to go see the show, like the Into the Woods. You're going early because you guys do the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way to like, how could I do that in Canada? Do you know? Is there a way? Because I'd love to like
Don't
podcast
know.
that as
Yeah, I don't
well.
know. The company I work with is a regional company.
Oh, okay.
I could ask them if they know, but what you might want to do is find out who the marketing company is for Disney in your
Okay.
area,
Okay.
if you're near a large city.
Yeah. Well, Toronto.
Yeah, because like for me in the Cincinnati area, it's Owens Group, and they handle marketing for Disney and for a bunch of companies, Warner Brothers and others. But there are certain uh, studios like 20th Century that there is no company in the Cincinnati area anymore that handles marketing for 20th Century. So I don't get press passes to 20th Century movies.
Okay. We
All right.
usually, when does that movie open, Into the Woods? Christmas Day?
I don't think it's Christmas Day.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's December 19th.
Oh, okay.
See it on the 17th. I could just look at my list and see, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Just
But
because
it could be one of those weird
well, I'm
things.
psyched to see that movie, first
Yeah.
of all. And just if it worked out, because I know I could see Maleficent early, and then it worked out to podcast also, but I will look into that marketing company thing.
Yeah. And if you need anything like even an email address, Aaron@oncepodcast.com email address, I can set that up for you
Okay.
to give it extra support, or if you need me to contact the company for you.
Okay. I will find out first what the deal is and email you.
Let's share these spoilers. They were pre-recorded, so I'm just
Okay. I was
on the play
wondering where
button
they were.
here. Yeah. All right, Aaron, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
No problem. Good night, guys.
Good
Have a
night.
good night.
Good night.
All right, everybody, if you don't want to hear spoilers, tune out now. Stop the live feed. You won't miss anything else. If you want to chat about these, go over to oncepodcast.com/forums and use that chat room. The live page here needs to stay spoiler free. So here they come.
Hi, Oncers. I'm Hunter Hathaway.
And I'm Jacqueline.
And it's spoiler time for Once
Spin the
Podcast.
wheel.
We've got season 4. So episode 10 is called Shattered Sight. Storybrooke is in a state of chaos with all the residents under the Snow Queen spell of Shattered Sight at each other's throats. Emma and Elsa race against the clock to free themselves of the ribbons and take down the Snow Queen and her curse. David can only watch when Regina clashes with Mary Margaret in an epic battle. Meanwhile, Gold gathers Belle and Henry as he prepares to leave town forever, and Will Scarlet looks to square his tab with Hook. Kristoff's thick-headedness leads Anna to a heartwarming discovery. Okay, so we've got some guest stars, and I'm going to completely butcher these names, and I'm very sorry. So the Seven Dwarfs and Granny are back, so we'll get to see them underneath the spell. Then we have Rebecca Wiskoski as Madame Buoystia.
I think it's Fastina.
Okay, you're better than I am. So Madame Festina, that sounds better. Elias Webb as Kevin, Abby Ross as young Emma. and it's written by Scott Nimfaro and Tej Chung and directed by Gwyneth Porter Payton.
Nice job.
Thanks. I'm so bad with names.
So we did get a promo for this week.
Yeah.
And as expected, it really focuses on the fact that the spell of Shattered Sight has hit Storybrooke, and everybody's pretty much going to be at each other's throat. A lot of the promo focuses on the evil queen Regina, who's back in her full evil queen regalia.
And she looks wonderful.
She does. I really like the outfit. And she and Snow White are going to be yelling at each other and engaging in a sword fight while Prince Charming looks on.
And Kristoff, I think, because, I mean, he's handcuffed to the desk.
Right. And based on the photos we got for this episode, Emma and Elsa will be with the Snow Queen in her ice cave, along with Anna.
So where's the baby? Where's Neil?
I have no idea. I don't know where baby Snowflake is because Snow handed him off in the last episode, and Emma's not holding him in those photos.
Right. And I don't even remember seeing her holding him in the promo.
Yeah, I don't either. So, yeah, it looks like Anna, Elsa, and Emma will be going after the Snow Queen, trying to end her curse. They end up in her ice cave at some point. So that should be fun.
Yes. And then one of the things I did get from the promo, didn't Regina put a protection spell on her office where Henry was?
Yes.
So, okay, if you haven't seen the promo, Hook, it looks like Hook goes to the mayor's office and he somehow is able to get in, but Henry has set a trap, or at least I think this is Henry.
I think so.
And it's marbled all over the ground. And if you really look closely, you see like a shadow leap over Hook.
Okay, so one last little tidbit from this upcoming episode from Josh Dallas. He stated that Prince Charming is going to be quite nasty and going for the jugular, even against Snow White. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of verbal sparring between Snow and Charming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the promo, as soon as, I'm going to guess it's as soon as the curse hits, they like let go of each other's hands. It's like,
right.
They're all nice and sweet. No, get away.
Yep.
So it's actually really cool. And I can't wait for the sword fight. I don't know why. I know that they really do care for each other, but because of the curse, but the sword fight and Snow tosses Regina through a glass door.
Yep.
Really cool. I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So I know we have a casting news. Did you want to talk about that?
Okay, so this came out today. For episode 15, they are casting a king whose crown was hard won, and the fight to keep it has taken a toll. He is also described as handsome but not refined and highly protective of his family. And the role might be reoccurring. If I had to make a guess, I'm going to say it's probably King Triton, given that we know Ursula is one of the villains next season.
Right away, I was thinking King Uther from Merlin because I'm in the middle of watching that show right now. So, but that's kind of cool. A king. We haven't really seen many kings lately.
Right. That will be around episode 15, so second half of the season. And then the only other thing that came out with that bit of news was that Hook's heartlessness will impact Emma. And if you watched last week's episode after they kissed, you saw Emma seem like something was off. And so I think she's probably going to learn quite soon that Hook does not have his heart. And somehow Belle is going to get pulled into his predicament. So I don't know if Hook, without his heart, goes after Belle. I don't know if Belle finds out what Rumpel's been doing. But Belle's going to be coming into this somehow.
Oh, that's very interesting. Because we also read from ET Online in an interview with Jennifer Morrison that Emma will help Hook get his heart back eventually.
Yes.
But also in that article, they were talking about how not having a heart doesn't mean he can't love.
Right.
So it's just he can love. His heart's just not in his body. He has no control.
Exactly.
And then TV Guide talked with Eddie Kitsis, and it was all about this arc. And he says, this arc will come to an end, and the Snow Queen is dealt with. But something surprising rears its head in the aftermath of this story, and it takes us right into our next arc, which is our favorite twist yet. So We're going to say goodbye to Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and it is going to take us to some wonderful place.
Yes, and if I had to predict, I would say that the Snow Queen will likely get sucked into that hat. That's my big prediction.
But are the fairies going to be able to get out?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody can get out of that hat.
Yeah, because we don't know where that hat leads.
Right, and we do know that we've got 3 very big villains coming to Storybrooke for the second half of the season, apparently all working together, so I don't know if they're going to come out of that hat or if they've always been in Storybrooke.
Well, Maleficent has been in Storybrooke. We do know
Right.
that. And she was a
Mhm.
dragon, so we don't know how she goes back to human form.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming up. And it's going to be fun because we also read in a report from TV Line with Adam Horowitz that we will get to find out why the knave left Wonderland. And we'll be learning more about his post Wonderland life as the season progresses. And we'll also be exploring more into his past with Robin Hood. I'm excited for that.
Yes. I know people are really anxious to learn where Anastasia is, if she's dead, if she's alive, what happened to her. That's causing a lot of anxiety with people. So I will be happy when we get an answer to that.
Yes. And then finally, we do have a new title for episode 413, and that is
Unforgiven. And it will be written by Kalinda Vasquez and Andrew Chambliss, and it's being directed by Adam Horowitz.
Oh, really? Is this his first time directing for the show?
This is his first time directing, and they're filming it right now. He's in Vancouver. He's been sending some pictures out on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you can go get a look. But yeah, he's going to direct this episode.
Oh, that's so cool. Because usually we always get the written by, we never get the directed by.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we have for you this week. I'm Hunter. You can follow me on Twitter at Bit of Pixie Dust.
I'm Jacqueline, and you can follow me on Twitter at punk_bunny_87.
Until next time, Oncers.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us.